so you're at work and you're put in charge of a project, okay?
Yeah.
And the project, even though you're a bit of a knob about it and people don't love it, the project goes well. It's maybe the most successful version of this project ever. And you start to get a bit confident and you go, do you know what? I can do pretty much whatever the fuck I want. And even though like your co-workers don't like you, they can't deny that you are. So they'll be like, it'll be grand. I can do whatever I want after that project. So you come up with an idea. But the problem is that idea is so fucking terrible that even after running a successful project, you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your job. That is the reality of one Gianni Infantino, who after running, like again, we don't like him and we don't like some of the methods he's used, but the World Cup, we have to say, unfortunately, apart from some major controversies that we could have seen coming a mile off, was a success. It was a fun World Cup. The final was a bit of a joke. The halftime show was a bit of a joke. A lot of the ideas that were Gianni's ideas specifically were awful, but football is great, and we ended up liking a lot of the football. But now he immediately came out with his post-project idea, and he's like, I'm going to sell everything. Well, not sell everything, just sell all the work, but we keep the money. And that was his idea. And essentially he wanted to hand over running the World Cup and the Club World Cup, which essentially is what FIFA's job is. You have one job. Jerry, it's like you turning around to someone on the door and being like, what if there was someone that did all the stamping and the scanning and greeted people, but like I got paid at the end? And it's like, no, that's your fucking job. Anyway, it was a terrible idea. Major confederations like UEFA, the Asian Confederation, CONCACAF as well, threatened to boycott FIFA. Gianni Infantino backed down, but now everyone's just like, do you know what? Actually, you're just a knob. You're just a knob. Actually, even if you don't do the idea that we hated, we just decided, we just all came together and took it as an opportunity to say, we don't like you. So now he's probably going to lose his job, or at the very least, he's not going to get support from any of the major confederations who he needs to get support from to get re-elected as FIFA president, which, wow, it is a sign of sheer incompetence that you can turn a massive success, the biggest financial success in FIFA history, into losing your job. It is an impressive level of incompetence. But Jerry, as we get kicked off here on the post SummerSlam hangover version of Low Blows, I want you to think of embarrassing U-turns in wrestling history.
Embarrassing U-turns. Okay. So for me, it has to be one of the most recent ones. Let's be perfectly honest with you, because this was a shit show. That is, how do you take somebody who's just main evented the pay-per-view with John Cena and fire him? Oh, fuck, we better just bring him back. Yeah. That is the most embarrassing fucking thing I've seen. Of course, I'm talking about R-Truth there. He main events a pay-per-view with John Cena on John Cena's tour, final run as champion. And he gets the main event, and then literally like next day or day after it gets released. How does that work? How does that happen? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And of course, then the backlash from the public were like, "What are you doing? What's going on here?" Like literally, if he had been not brought back, I would imagine there would have been serious issues with WWE in terms of financial issues. I'd imagine, because people would have started to boycott, or things would have happened in terms of people punishing WWE. And every now and then, I think they need to be punished every now and then. I think this past weekend might have been a clear sign that they're being punished slightly, but we'll get to that later on. But R-Truth being fired and then rehired within a matter of weeks, and then trying to call, oh no, that was part of the plan. Yeah, of course it was. Ask my bollocks, it was part of the plan. No, so that's definitely one of the most embarrassing U-turns. Now there's a lot, but that was the one that came to mind like immediately. So yeah, that one. So what have you got?
It's so like he was a huge part. Like the one thing WWE had going on for them last year was the John Cena retirement tour. Mm-hmm. And the reason R-Truth, who's not usually a pay-per-view main eventer, was in there was because he's such a big part of that storyline. So for them to just take it, like if they'd have sacked him the day after John Cena's retirement, I don't think that would have happened. It would have been Christmas time. We would have been focusing on Cena. It was just because they made him such a central part of it and
Yeah.
then said, nah, it's like just, yeah, tone deaf. For me, if we're talking on an Infantino level of huge decisions made and immediately having to back down, and this is like, it's not necessarily funny because, like, a woman and his child died. So there's that. I'm not going to make comedy out of that. That's obviously massively tragic. But it is the decision of Vince McMahon on Raw, like just in terms of mad timing. Vince McMahon makes a decision to kill himself off WWE television, gets into a limousine, which promptly explodes on Raw. The next week on Raw, he has to open the show saying, so, about that, I'm alive, but you know who's not alive? And they're like, fuck me, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, but also, can we just say, right? I was thinking about this as I'm prepping this answer and I'm reliving this storyline. Like, imagine how mad it would seem. We criticize WWE a lot these days. And
Yeah.
look, they deserve it. Their second Raw Truth is just case in point. But like it would be unthinkable for a Raw to end with a main character dying based off explode, unless it's a silly Danhausen gimmick. Do you know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
we kind of know they're not dead or whatever. Um, but a main character, imagine like Gunther or Nick Aldis got into a car and it exploded. Like, I just want to make this point, right? All you little creeps out there who are like, bring Vince McMahon back, bring him back. It's not the same as it was. That's what it was. That's what it was. It was embarrassing decision after embarrassing decision. It was him deciding for no reason, no one's asking, it wasn't part of any major storyline. I'm going to kill myself off for no reason. And then it's the next week having to be like, oh, the consequences of my actions. This wrestler suffered major head trauma over the years in wrestling because, of the culture that I facilitated for decades. And now, like, he's killed his family. And now I have to, like, climb down from my storyline. That's the Vince McMahon area you're pining for. And, like, if anything is the thing where I'm like, if people support like creeps or people with like, messy sexual pasts and misconduct and stuff like that, when you come out and support, when you support Conor McGregor, for example, my immediate thought is, what have you done?
Yeah.
Who have you touched? And why are you so invested in being like, oh, why are we being so woke these days? Oh, who among us hasn't like fucking touched up a girl before? That's immediately what I think when you support these people. That is what you're hearkening. They're the good old days you're hearkening back to. It was fucking awful. It was dreadful. It was stupid. It was embarrassing. Another time, Vince McMahon. Do you remember the time like when Vince McMahon, the sex scandal first came out? And then like it was on a Friday. And how Vince McMahon decided to respond to this was he said, I'm going on SmackDown. You can't stop me. And then walked out. Walked out and just did a promo where he's like, welcome to SmackDown. Then, now, forever. And then just walked off. Just to show he could. It is a weirdness. Like with Vince McMahon, you just got a weirdness on a Trumpian awkwardly trying to stand beside Spain as they lift the World Cup. Like on that level of awkwardness regularly. Like this man may be suffering from severe dementia, but he's also an actual psychopath in real life, and I don't know how to feel. Like that was the Vince McMahon experience you're pining back to. Like constant, constant. That is one of many Vince McMahon era climb down, but it's probably the most notable because of the awkwardness of killing himself off and then having to be like, actually, I'm alive, and one of my major wrestlers isn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, fuck me, like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, a bit of a dark start to the show.
Yeah. And
Look,
on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end.
we're we're in a dark place. We're in a place of recovery, guys, right? Okay. It's the Hangover show. Thank you to everyone who came out this weekend for SummerSlam weekend. It was a lot of fun. You guys make it. It was like, it was an interesting one. Because it kind of felt it was a like if you look at even the ticket sales for SummerSlam itself, like there's just like a downturn in interest in WWE from like the heights of the high. Now they're still doing well. They're still making shitloads of money. They're still on Netflix, all of that stuff. But they're just there's the appetite isn't as strong. Okay, and what SummerSlam needed to do was kind of inspire that and needed to put us on like the start of the road to WrestleMania and give us some momentum. And we'll discuss if we did that or not. But it did have a knock-on effect on us, and I'll turn around and say it out straight because it was weird because we'd said when we did this version of the Hangover show for WrestleMania, we'd said, I don't know about 2 nights. Like Mania, yes. If they did a 2 night Rumble, probably yes, because I think people just love Royal Rumbles as well. But SummerSlam, we were debating it. But then, like, we have now the link with WWE. You would have seen us all on Netflix if you were watching the broadcasts over the weekend. So we kind of had to run the 2 nights again. And WWE just made it so. I'm going to be honest, they made like not the people that we worked with, but the overall bigger picture level of WWE made it a bit difficult for us because not announcing the card until the week of just made everyone kind of hold off because they wanted to see when the matches were. Last year, SummerSlam Saturday was kind of all the other matches. Like they literally grouped all the other matches and then Punk Gunther they kind of put in there as a marquee match. But then they put all the big matches onto Sunday. So it was like, okay, if we're planning out when to do the big party and then the Ned's party, the kind of intimate one for the hardcores, that makes sense to just mirror that. But then for this year, they packed everything onto Saturday, which made it really weird for us
Yeah.
because we'd nearly net sold out by the time. And then people who were probably holding off to see if the matches they wanted for Sunday weren't. So Sunday was a little bit quieter than we're used to for SummerSlam as well. But I didn't love the fact, like, but what I liked about it was we don't care. Like if there's fucking there like Sunday had more people than Saturday, but it was a bigger venue, so it felt like a bit kind of lighter. But what I love about like first off what we do, we don't approach it with like, oh, there's less people here than normal. We're like, we'll give you a show no matter what. If there's fucking 12 people in the crowd, we'll still give you a fucking good night. But everyone else gets into that spirit. Like, and that made it a fucking great weekend. But WWE themselves didn't sell out I don't think with the tickets. I did a tally up of the reported sales, and I don't think they sold out the US Bank Stadium capacity between the 2 nights.
Mhm.
This has to be the end for 2 night SummerSlams, Jerry. I
Yeah.
really want it to be the end. Like, you may think that as someone who runs it, I'd surely love to do two parties, but what I want is for 100% of my parties to feel like big parties and successful parties,
Yeah.
and for everyone to feel like, should I go on Saturday or Sunday? Because it's a lot to go out in Dublin City. But this surely has to be the end of 2 nights.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, even when you're looking back, and I think they need to rethink SummerSlam, like, seriously rethink SummerSlam. It's not just about the 2 nights, it's about what they're doing in terms of the size of the arenas they're getting. This is not WrestleMania. As much as they want to push it as this is the other WrestleMania throughout the year, this is not WrestleMania. If you only have to look back on the last few years, I think it was do you remember the night Becky came back and won the belt? Like,
Mm,
remember that night? It was the same as last night, is that they were only showing one side of the arena because the other side of the arena was completely empty because they
yeah.
didn't do it. It was like, why would you, first of all, why would you hire an arena that big and not pack it out? If it's looking like it's not going to pack, you're not going to sell out. Fucking drop ticket prices then. Do something to actually help increase the tickets being sold. But for this weekend anyway, they were very, very clever with how they did their camera angles. Every now and then it would slightly veer off, and you're like, oh, look at that empty fucking area there. It was like, we watching AEW or WWE. It just seemed, I always have to get the AEW gripe in there. It just seemed terrible. It seemed terrible. Like, I imagine anyone sitting on the camera, like the side where the camera is showing, is looking at that other side going, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is shit. Like, as a fan, I would have thought that was absolute shite. As a performer, I'd say, oh, this is fucking dreadful. This is SummerSlam. This is supposed to be packed to the rafters, and a whole side of the arena is completely empty. So they need to rethink a lot. Get rid of the two
Think of
nights.
how much as well you have to pay
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
SummerSlam tickets. Think of how much we have to pay for a SmackDown. Like you're talking a couple of £100 to get like fucking nosebleeds. So
Nosebleeds. Yeah,
how much you have to pay for SummerSlam? And in your head, you're thinking of all, you're watching all these great SummerSlam moments, you're getting ready and stuff like that. And then what you're staring at the crowd is an empty arena. Because
yeah,
again, if you're on the hard camera side that they're packing into, what you're actually looking at are tapered off seats,
yeah.
like we were for SmackDown, but that was kind of by design and the set, the way the three arenas configured. SmackDown was a full sellout when it was in Dublin, but like you're looking at the TV production side,
Yeah.
and that's not the way stadium shows are meant to be. You're meant to look at a full fucking stadium, but it wasn't, and it was like that's so deflating. That must be so deflating for fans.
Yeah, deflating for fans, especially anyone who's gone to SummerSlam expecting to, it could be the very first pay per view you've ever gone to. You've saved up your money, you've spent several hundred, possibly thousands to get tickets, accommodation, all the other things that are happening that weekend as well. Because if you're a big wrestling fan, there's always stuff on in the area for shows like before the main show kicks off. So there's always stuff going on. So you've probably spent a couple of hundred, if not thousand, on this. You go into the arena, you look across and go, half of the arena is closed. Like, why did I have to pay so much for these tickets when half the arena is closed?
Yeah.
Like they could have halved the ticket prices and packed the place out, and they would have made the same money, if not more. Because you have more people in the arena, they're going to buy merch. So if the ticket price are halved, you're going to fill it out. So you're going to still make the same amount from ticket sales, but then you're going to make more money on merch because people are going to go, well, I only paid 250 instead of 500. I'll buy a t-shirt, or I'll buy a replica belt, or I'll buy this. Where you're going to make more money on that. So I think the whole idea that if all they had to do was halve ticket prices, you would have got both nights, halve ticket prices and one night. That entire place would have been packed to the fucking rafters, and people would have walked away happier. Now, that's not to say it was a bad weekend, because it was I thought it was a great pay per view. Some really good moments, some like okay moments, but overall, I thought it's a good pay per view for two nights. A few little surprises, things like that, but it still wouldn't have been enough to kind of. If I was sitting there after spending so much money on tickets, I'd have been sitting there, okay, the wrestling's been great and the surprises are great, but I'm still looking at blank fucking canvas across from me because half the arena's closed off. Obviously they
Yeah.
were very clever with the camera angles, but still, it still looks shit.
Yeah, and camera angles mean nothing when you're there, like unless you're so far back you're watching the Tron, which nobody is because they need to pack everyone into a condensed area. But like, it's also like WWE, I think, need to. There's a weird thing, and you get this. We've been doing this now 14 years. We started in 2012.
God help me.
So we've seen different cycles of WWE. And I
Yeah.
remember when we started, Survivor Series was the tougher kind of challenge for us to try and fill. And with the War Games element now, that's just not the case. Survivor Series is popular. The timing of the year, people are hungry again for WWE, and it's getting into that. Like Royal Rumble is just around the corner, so now like we've noticed that Survivor Series is actually SummerSlam is the difficult part. It's the part they haven't got fully right yet, and I think part of it is just that kind of arrogant notion of, but it's SummerSlam, people are going to come to SummerSlam. It's WrestleMania in the summer. But they've lost kind of there's an element like, and with Survivor Series, like what made it so challenging for years for us was, and also for WWE to generate interest, was they kind of just assumed, but it's Survivor Series, it's one of the big four. And do you remember what they did was they started every year, it just became like brand supremacy that nobody gave a shit about. It was Raw
Yeah.
versus SmackDown. It's like, I don't care. Like, you're WWE to me. I don't care who's, and you swap brands so often that I actually forget who's on who to get really invested in this storyline. Then they brought the War Games element into it, and now Survivor Series had meaning again, and then all of a sudden people became hungrier for it. That's kind of where they are with SummerSlam, where they're like, it's SummerSlam. Like, it'll be grand either way. And like, if anything, it's like, and sure, SummerSlam's too big. We can do two nights. Now you have to remember the context of this. Like this one specifically this was actually the first ever announced two-night SummerSlam. Last year was the first ever two-night SummerSlam, but this is the first announced one because Minnesota was promised a WrestleMania. They actually announced the WrestleMania was going to be in Minnesota, and then they backed down on it because they moved to Saudi, I believe. I think it was the Saudi Mania that took it away from Minnesota. So they said we'll give you 2 nights of SummerSlam as a makeup, and you may have noticed even that the closing credits of both shows were like a Minnesota publicity thing. Like that's the makeup that they're doing because they're like we'll bring all this economy to it as well. So I feel like this was just unfortunate circumstances, but there is such a benefit to having. I know they're kind of conditioned, and I like the 5 or 6 match cards. Don't get me wrong; it flows quite nicely. It flows the wrestling quality, and I'm not Jerry. I don't hate AEW. I quite like it. I'm going to All In a few weeks in Wembley. Um,
Boo.
but the wrestling quality is so much higher on pay-per-views than AEW, but the flow is awful because every match is 15, 20 minutes. Every match has people kicking out of finishers. Every match is wrestled as a main event. WWE shows instead have 5, 6 matches and they give it time to breathe. And that's quite good. But it doesn't have to be that way for every pay-per-view. What if the special unique selling point of SummerSlam was this is an 8 or 9 match pay-per-view, all with killer matches. Imagine you took this pay-per-view and you took away the filler 6-man tags. And this was all just one night. You had Hell in a Cell over Brock. You had Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins. You had Randy or CM Punk against Cody Rhodes. There's a real debate over what's the fucking main event. There's so many great matches. The women's ladder match. You have Liv Morgan EO. You have Gunther against Nick Aldis. That's one amazing cards, or it's two good cards, you know what I mean? But it's too spread out. And then, like, if I want to go to them, I have to decide, do I just give up my deposit on a house and go to both nights of SummerSlam? Or do I have to pick? And even when I pick the night, I don't know what matches I'm getting. Like, because they won't announce it until I've already bought tickets because they announce it on the Monday. So I think WWE, it's not that this weekend was a disaster, like for WWE or low blows. I know we're starting off in a down note, but we'll get progressively more positive, I think, as we go along and tip through it. But I think they need to rethink the idea of SummerSlam and remember to sell it the way you sell a Survivor Series now. Because Survivor Series is in November. We will have no stress with Survivor Series. It's not going to sell out more than likely. It's not like a Rumble or Mania. But we'll have no stresses with it. It'll be a great card and a great night, but it'll all be one night of fucking killer matches. All your favorite wrestlers going to be on this one fucking big ass show. That works. More is not necessarily more. Sometimes more is less because you're then making people decide and split and stuff like that. Anyway, the point I was making there when I started was even though we kind of mirror these challenges that WWE go through because we're so tied to WWE, what I love is that, like, first off, we'll never kind of half-ass it. We'll go out and make sure we have 2 great nights, but everyone else comes along with that spirit as well. Do you know what I mean? I noticed it last night on Sunday because with Ned's, like, it's a condensed venue. Like we had it packed out, like, you know what I mean, and it was grand. Like once kind of the room filled, everyone was up for it. Woolshed, like when they're doing the full venue and it's kind of a smaller crowd, it was like tougher to get people going because people are just far apart from each other at times, like until it filled out, and that's just before the pay-per-view starting, and then the atmosphere was hopping for the actual show. But I loved how everyone just kind of came together and it's like, nah, we're gonna fucking make this a great night and just got into it. What were some of your favorite moments from the SummerSlam weekend as far as Woolshed goes? What are the moments that you'll take away? And we'll be telling stories on this podcast when we're reminiscing about this.
This is the thing about our parties is that you could have, and there've been nights where it was standing room only. And you remember those nights. We have those nights for WrestleManias and Royal Rumbles. In the past, when we had the entire venue, so Ned's included, and downstairs and upstairs, like literally, you're like sardines in a tin can. And it's a great atmosphere. People get on, people are having drink and food and the whole lot, and they're screaming and shouting. I love it, right? But when you have a night like this past weekend where, okay, there's not as many people come together even more. It's like where we have said for a long time that you can literally come to one of our parties on your own and you'll leave with friends or you'll leave with contactees of it. Yeah, this is a genuine thing. We're not fucking blowing smoker. This is a genuine thing. People leave with friends. That's what I take from this weekend is that a lot of people came here. Some of them came on their own, and that's genuine. Some people did come on their own, and some people might come in a pair or like a small party, whatever. But everyone was interacting with each other. Everyone was having the crack. You only have to look at the video that Netflix put up on Saturday from Ned's. Everybody is interacting. Everybody is cheering. Everyone's shouting. It was absolutely fantastic atmosphere. I do have to say, I really like Ned's as like we'll have like Neds for like the smaller stuff like Clash in Italy or like that like the quieter night of a two night pay-per-view. I'm really starting to like it because it does feel more intimate. And especially I like Clash in Italy as well because we did more. We had the stuff that we did on stage for that. And people really seem to gravitate to that. They really, really liked it. So Ned's for me is something that I'm really, really enjoying. I'm liking the intimate feel of it. It's kind of like
What's the story you'll take away from the weekend, though? What do you think is the one memory you'll have?
Well, I've got. Oh Jesus! Now,
If you have a few, that's fine.
yeah, I would imagine I do have a few. It's like you know me, I love being on the door, so interacting with people on the door is fantastic. And again, for me, it's all about like nostalgia as well. It's like seeing a lot of the people that we've known for years coming up. But everybody has changed. Like everyone was babyface when we did this. They're all kids when we were doing this in 2012, wasn't it? 2012 when we first 2012. So just seeing everybody, we've known for years, and it's not a surprise to see them, but you're still in a way surprised. Oh, it's great to see you. Like even looking at like one of the people who has been there from almost the very beginning was everybody knows Ali. Ali was there last night. Ali looked absolutely fucking amazing. She's been working really hard in herself.
What are you talking about her?
A creep. She looked absolutely
What?
I didn't say that.
A creep, like she was looking great. She was.
She did. Wow, like what's the problem with that?
Only slacking off. So we know Ali. We know Ali.
I'm not the pervert, Jer. Okay, I'm not the one with all the fucking feet and dick pics on his phone. That's you. I saw them the other day. So fuck you. But it's and then you look at the likes of John who comes, and John has a great crack with us when he prints off them fucking it's almost like giant boarding cards that he prints off. It's like I have to scan this with the fucking scanner. I love that. I love the fact that you have people coming in to us that, as I say, we're coming in for years, but they will have to crack with you on the door. They will literally stand with. It's not just somebody walking up, scan that, thanks very much, in the walk. It's like you're having to crack with the people on the door. Because obviously, when it comes to me and Jimmy being on the door, we don't see a lot what's happening inside. We don't see the bingo. We don't see the limbo. We don't see all the other things that are going on. We can hear it in the background, but we don't see it. So our interactions are more personal. You're talking with people on the door who are people that we'd never met before came in, and we were having to crack with them, just having a joke with them. Jimmy, always the wisecracker, like, oh, no, lads, listen, it's sold out. Oh, yeah, no, we have tickets. Oh, no, listen, you can't come in. Like, he just bullshit people on the door. But he's so serious while doing it. People are like, oh, okay. And he's like, no, I'm only joking. Give us that and the scanner, and away you go. So it's literally it's having to crack with everybody in the door. That's always going to be my favorite thing with this is the interactions that we have with people coming in, and I absolutely love it. And whether it's an intimate night in Ned's or whether it's a massive WrestleMania pay-per-view with literally queue going down past the cinema, and that has happened, ladies and gentlemen. That does fucking happen at our parties. It doesn't matter to us because we have to crack with everybody and anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. And especially with new people coming up, if we don't know you, if we don't know your face, we're going to have even more crack with you. We're going to take the piss. We're going to have more crack. And by the end of it, we'll know your name. You'll know our names. We'll know your name. And the next time, you're like, oh, Jesus, John, how are you? How are we getting on? So that to me is always going to be my favorite thing about the parties is being on the door and interacting with everybody that comes in. Even the people who aren't coming in for the pay-per-view. People who are just coming into the Woolshed for a drink.
What's the one memory you'll take away from the weekend?
It's actually nothing to do with what I just said. It's the fact that the one memory I'll take for it is that my amazing acting performance that me and Jimmy did filming that stupid fucking vignette that you made us do.
Obsession, yeah, very good, very good. Check it out. It's on our socials. Jimmy's obsessed with Jerry. Yeah, very fucking funny. So many ideas, like yeah, and like Jerry was freaked out by Jimmy being obsessed with him because Jerry just wanted to get a bit of respect from Jimmy, and then like Jerry's totally freaked out until Jimmy suggests they get a chicken burger, and Jerry just turns straight away,
Okay. Yeah.
skipping into the night.
Jimmy had suggested on the Saturday because we're both trying to lose weight and we're like, right, what will we have to eat? And he said, oh, they actually do a really nice grilled chicken burger here. I was like, yeah, fuck, we get that. And it was beautiful, and that's where the idea for the chicken burger came from. So, really, yeah, I enjoyed that, and then the little dance we did up past Cineworld, that was lovely.
It
But
was.
night,
It was. It was
that was that.
adorable. It
Yeah,
was adorable. Yeah, for all those people who ship Jimmy and Jerry, there's like some weird subcultures that go online. Like there's some weird fanfic out there. That's probably the closest you'll ever get to seeing that realize. Check it
yeah,
out. Check out the video on our socials. It's very funny. For me, it's got to be, and this is like the epitome of what I say of everything that I've spoken about. It's Dave and John and the lads dressing up as Danhausen on
yeah,
Sunday. Fucking hilarious, right? Obviously, look, we have this thing with WWE now where we'll be on the big broadcast when we're running a party and stuff like that. And like we were in talks during the week. I can speak about it now. I was trying to hint at it, and I said to people quietly, we're in talks during the week to that essentially we record a bit for Finn Balor's entrance. Like so when he's making his end. Now plans change all the time, and especially in WWE. And it made sense when you saw the wider scale why they wouldn't cut to that. Finn Balor's the first entrance on the show, and then obviously you had Kevin Owens and Gunther coming out as a surprise, and that. So you can't really. So I understood why that got made, but then they featured us later in the show, and then all of a sudden now everyone's doing their Finn Balor dance, and then all of a sudden at the very end of it you get the Danhausen's pop up pointing at for no reason, but they're so fucking good. The makeup was so spot on. I think it was Jade who did that makeup. Fantastic work. Not Jade Coslow, Dave's Jade. So yeah, I don't know if she likes being called Dave's Jade. By the way, that's I don't know. Maybe she'll kill me for saying it that way. But you know who you are. But the fact that that got featured on the SummerSlam broadcast is just like, that's why we're different. Everyone else is fucking doing generic things. You have the people in do you see the weird hologram studio that they have? I
yeah,
like the idea. It looks quite cool in terms of what they're going for. That you're sitting ringside and the match is being projected out to you, the hologram in the middle. Like, it's a cool idea. I feel like I don't know. I don't know if it'd be for me. Like, I don't know if we could, if we had the tech, if I'd like to do it, because I feel like it's just it's immersive, but in the wrong way. It might take you away from chatting to the person beside you because it's
yeah.
just so immersive, like it kind of a cinematic experience. But then they have that, and it's visually stunning to watch. Like when you're kind of seeing it on telly, and they had an ad for it. But then they cut to the parties, and everyone's doing generic kind of like they're doing the Seth Rollins pose or this or that or the other, and we do the same. We're doing the Balor pose, but then at the end it's like Danhausen's for no reason whatsoever. And I'm like, that's now making the people are now getting that Dublin is a little bit different, and that's what I love. The fact that we're going on Netflix, but like we're doing it our way. We're doing it in
Yeah.
the way that like it's the spirit of the parties that we're doing, and it's really like representative of the crack that we have in the randomness. I love that Danhausen's doing the limbo. I posted that on our socials just before we recorded today. Fucking amazing crack. There was that. It was like, yeah, I loved the full circleness of the ending to Saturday. So what we did was we always try and push the presentation of what we do, and we changed up slightly for this, and I'm gonna start improving it. I'm already getting ideas now where it's just a full video kind of display as well, and then there's me kind of as the DJ like prompting you throughout the night and setting up the entertainment and so on. It worked really well, and like I was very happy with how all that went. But like we started doing throwbacks on the big screen, like because now we have all this body of years and years of like content from people enjoying WWE since 2012. We were talking about the SummerSlam throwback pictures where you used to look the same age. We had those on the big screen throughout. And one throwback we had was one of my favorite memories we've ever had at a Low Blows party was last year's SummerSlam Saturday, and it was Seth Rollins cashing in on CM Punk just because there was such a huge ecstasy for Punk winning, and then that quickly turned to agony for the Punk fans in there. And Jimmy Malloy is a huge CM Punk fan. The throwback picture we have from him in 2013 is him doing the CM Punk pose, so he's been there since fucking day one, essentially, cheering him on, and he encompassed that. But then the full circleness of the video from this Saturday where Randy Orton interferes and helps Cody win, and then having kind of that full circle moment with a lot of the same people sitting in a lot of the same seats as this time last year. It was really cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's good, the stuff that I love, and kind of what I'll take away from the weekend. But thank you so much to everyone for coming along, making it to crack. The fucking ad break songs, like some inspired fucking recommendations we got as well, like, and just the sing songs we had. So there was a funny story actually. We did the clip that you saw on SummerSlam on Sunday with the Danhausens at the end. We actually did a first take of that and we sent it off to WWE. And I announced this to the crowd yesterday and they sent back a note and they're like, can you redo that? But like put the Danhausens right in the center of it because like they're the fucking stars. Like, so I'm like, absolutely. So I had to get on the mic and go, WWE have got back to us and they said, we're gonna need more Danhausen. And it's like fucking the cowbell fucking skit from Saturday Night Live. It's like,
Yeah.
I've got
Need
a
more
fever.
cowbell.
I've got the fever, and the only thing that can cure me is more Danhausen. So that's how we ended up doing the thing that you saw with the reveal at the end. So great crack. Thank you to everyone who came along. Let's talk about SummerSlam itself. We'll start with Saturday. The big talking point, I think, from Saturday is, and CM Punk has come out and kind of in a typical CM Punk fashion, been quite outspoken in a kind of passive aggressive, bitchy way about not being in the main event, where he's like, oh, I don't care. I'll be anywhere in the crowd because it's not in my contract to be in the main event. Like, so it's like, so you are pissed off. If you are pissed off, just say you're pissed off. Like, don't be bitchy about it. Don't be like a fucking teenage girl being like, no, it's fine if some people like it that way. Like, he's not happy with it, and that's okay. It's
No,
okay to
no,
be.
not at all.
But there was the decision to have Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar in the main event. WWE, last week we were thinking it might be on the pre-show for ESPN because their previous matches have, but they've actually got rid of the ESPN pre-show, at least for this pay-per-view. We discussed last week, and I think I'd shut you down and been like, it's definitely not going to be the main event. But you'd argued initially that it would be. It was in the end. What were your thoughts on that decision and how it kind of played out?
On the decision, like pre-match on the decision, I thought, yes, absolutely, it should be the main event. Post-match, no. The match was okay. It didn't deliver what we expected a Hell in a Cell to be. Now, I'm not talking about like back in the day, getting on top of the cell, Undertaker throwing Mankind off, that type of thing. We're long past that, and especially with the fact that this cell is considerably higher. So that was never going to happen. But they only used the actual cell itself for one or two spots right at the start of the match. They got in, they did a normal match up until the part where Brock decided to rip up the canvas, tombstone Obafemi on the fucking wood, which was quite impressive. I have to say, I was like, he's not going to pull this fucking tombstone off. It was actually quite a really good tombstone. How he didn't destroy both his knees on that wood, I'll never know. But it was very much just a normal match, not like an exceptionally good main event match. It was just, if you'd have put that on at the start, even it being a Hell in a Cell, it would have been fine. I'd have been happier with it actually being the first match in the card rather than the last match. And obviously from reports coming out now is that Brock really, really went for, he wanted the main event. So he's like, no, we want this to main event the show. Whether that is for selfish reasons, him wanting it, obviously it's Minnesota, it possibly, we don't really know, possibly one of his last matches, he wanted to kind of go out in the blaze of glory, or whether he was doing it to give Obafemi the main event, which from all reports, I would actually take that more than him being selfish. Because apparently he's really taken Oba under his wing. They're constantly just kind of closeted off together. He's constantly giving advice, literally teaching them for hours and hours on end. So I'm like, okay, I think that's probably where I would go with it in terms of it being the main event. But Did they pull it off? No. It was an okay match. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't a bad match by any stretch. It was a slightly longer Lesnar match than we're used to. I think. I think we're used to like the 5-6 minute matches that Lesnar would do. This was slightly longer. But there was no like bloodthirstiness in the match. There was no like I'm going to kill you in this match. They barely used the cage. I think they used the steps at one point and then ripped up the canvas. That was it. If you'd have slotted in Punk and Rhodes in that main event spot, especially how that ended, that would have been a much better ending to the night. I think now with hindsight being what it is, I think the main event should have been the first match in the show. Get the Hell in a Cell out of the way. They still could have done everything that they did in the match, and then Brock's message after the match would have come off crystal clear because you'd have been thinking about that for the rest of the night. And then you got to the main event. So, did the match overall like just deliver a good wrestling match? It was an okay wrestling match. Was it an amazing main event? No. Was it a proper Hell in a Cell match? Not even close.
I think WWE needs to rethink, because when you say they're not going to go to the top, obviously, I'm like, yeah, but that's shit. Like, and it's a problem because I get why they're not. Like, that makes sense, for safety reasons. But you've set the bar for our expectations for Hell in a Cell so high that something almost isn't a cell match until they're outside the cage and ripping at it and doing all of that, because it
Yeah.
just feels like a diet version of Undertaker Mankind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like, correct
Um,
me if I'm wrong, but when was the last time somebody actually got on top of the cage was Shane McMahon
yeah,
when he went, that was Mania, wasn't it, against The Undertaker?
32, Mania
Yeah.
32, so 10
So
years
that's
ago.
10 years since somebody got on
10
top of the
years.
cage.
And like, I'm not saying you have to get on top of the cage, but I'm saying you
Yeah.
have to get creative in
Yeah.
how you do it. Because I'm sorry, but especially in a world where we get two elimination chamber matches in the year going, the indestructible cell. I'm like, yeah, but you say that for elimination chamber too, and they throw each other into the chains. And actually, it's probably cooler when you do it in elimination chamber because that's a fucking chain, so it looks like it's so
Exactly.
they need to rethink what the cell is and how they maximize their value from that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just giving us a generic kind of street fight in a cage, and then saying Hell in a Cell to get people in the door.
Yeah,
You know?
like this wasn't even close to being like a street fight inside the cage. They barely did anything. Like I am now judging from now on. I will be judging every single Hell in a Cell match by the Punk Drew Hell in a Cell match because that was
Yeah.
exceptional. And if it's not
Yeah.
that good, then forget about it. What's the point?
Yeah, and that's the kind of benchmark for modern Hell in a Cells. Like
Yeah,
it's the one that kind of worked. But even then, when you think of that, why it worked wasn't necessarily anything to do with the cell. It was the story that the guys had. So I feel like they could have had that match and it not being a cell, and it still would have been successful. Do you know, the Hell in a Cell was incidental, but they just needed a big match to blow off that feud. So I don't even see that as a win for Hell in a Cell as a gimmick. Whereas like Mankind and the Undertaker couldn't have happened without the cell. The cell was the defining character of that and built up this mythos that everyone has been struggling to maintain since. So I think people have to get creative, and you really have to like, for me, if I was in like the fucking WWE Unreal fucking scenes of the booking room, I'd be like, if we're gonna do Hell in a Cell, it has to be someone pitching us a creative idea or us thinking of a creative idea why the cell is gonna pay off. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise we're just stealing people's money by saying like Hell in a Cell beforehand and then getting fans' expectations so high where we don't actually have anything. Because this was a match of moments. Like literally, you could go away for the entirety of the match, watch the entrances, and watch the tombstone and everything that happened after that, and then watch the post match. That's the match. You've seen the match. We literally WWE put up the highlights. That was the highlights. It was those moments, and it was you could squeeze 20 minutes into that, like whereas it didn't really kind of achieve it. So and again, I'm not saying that it was bad or anything like that, but also like you kind of know that's going to be the way. Like Obafemi and Brock Lesnar aren't these like they're great athletes and they can do kind of anything you want them to do, but they're not these mythical storytellers. They never have been the storytellers in a wrestling match. Do you know what I mean? You don't watch Brock Lesnar for a Shawn Michaels style story where you're dragged out and your emotions are torn. You watch Brock Lesnar for physical feats. And putting him against Obafemi is that the reason you're doing that is because that's why you watch Oba as well. But Oba's the younger version and it's the same thing. So if you don't have that, then maybe this is the wrong gimmick match and you need to think of another way to sell it. But that is the lofty expectations that was thrust upon them by Brock's insistence that this be the main event. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if they'd have turned around and said it's the first match, we're probably like, that's a great start to the show. And it's that. But yes, Cody and Punk should have been the main event. It delivered more. It wasn't what we talked about. We got no heel turn in the end. We got a Randy Orton return, which is a very WWE style booking decision of, we didn't actually see it coming, but it's the really obvious play in the end. But it also, like, the reactions it got in Woolshed were fucking huge. And you cannot argue that it worked. Where does it leave us? Now we're like, oh, I don't know if Cody Punk has the juice to be the Mania main event again. Because, like, there's no... Right, okay, fair enough. Punk... There's a heelish aspect to it of, did he know Orton was there? Did he take advantage of that? There's kind of, that's the tension that exists between those two. But now Cody is very much on a trajectory of, he's got to deal with the Randy Orton problem now. And to get to Mania for Punk Cody, you have to have Cody win the Royal Rumble again, unless you kind of do a lot of messing around in the meantime. So yeah, like, I think for me, massive success for as a match itself. But then I come off it and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm looking forward to here. I'm not hot on another Cody Orton match. Like, if they can get the story right and kind of undo a lot of the stuff, then you could make me hot for it. But yeah, I don't know about the landscape now. I'm just like, I'm not feeling much momentum from that, even though they delivered in terms of what they were asked to do on Saturday. What are your thoughts?
For me, I think they delivered in terms of the match. And at one point, you're looking at Punk when it looked like he injured his leg. And I was actually I at that stage, I was home, literally getting ready for bed, watching it. And I'm looking, going, we're all kind of talking on this call, like, has he blown his knee out, or is his quad fucked? Like, we genuinely thought his leg was fucked. So you're looking at that match, and I think the match itself delivered. It looked like he had completely fucked up his leg, especially that leap off the top rope where he overshot the table. I'm like, oh, he's fucked now, like absolutely fucked. I thought the ending was quite good. But for me, the only thing that would get me invested, like what you're saying there, the only thing that would get me invested in especially if it's going to be a main event for WrestleMania, is if you have a very clear face and heel for that. And the only way it's going to work for me is that if they actually pull the trigger and make Cody a heel, because I think that would be a better aspect of it. Now, where do we go from here? Because ideally what you wanted Punk to be chasing for the belt going into WrestleMania against the heel Cody. Everyone wants to get heel Cody, get his comeuppance, and Punk finally wins in the main event of a WrestleMania. But now that's
do we need to let go of that notion then? Because we've been very certain since a WrestleMania show, and I know I talked you into this, so it's been me mainly pushing it, to be fair, and maybe I'm just wrong. But the Raw promo seemed to indicate, right, they're doing the year-long build, but they're just not telling us that that's where it's going. But we know now that's where it's going. So do we just need to now completely rethink this, and they're just not going, and they're going to stick with Cody as a babyface? Or like, what's the WrestleMania main event right now? Does Punk hold it to Mania? Are we totally wrong? Has Punk got his main event already, and that's it?
I don't see Punk holding it till Mania. I really don't. Like the idea of, but then again, the idea of Cody winning another Rumble, I'm like, no. I'm done with him winning the Rumble now. Like, not every record needs to be broken. We don't need to break Stone Cold's record of 3 fucking Royal Rumbles, okay? We don't need to constantly have people going for 16 or 17 World Championships. Give us something fucking different. Cody Rhodes winning the Rumble for me I'd be like, no, just fucking no. I don't want to see it. Would I like to see Punk win the Rumble? Yes. Would I like to see Oba win the Rumble? Yes. Would I like to see somebody out of far fucking left field win the Rumble? Yes. I would like to see something fucking different, please, WWE, because I've been coming onto this show for months and months and months and giving out about AEW, and now WWE are starting to piss me off. I'm like, give me something fucking different, please. Just stop giving me the same shit over and over and over again. So what I personally would like to see, I would like to see the two of them in the main event at WrestleMania. Would I like to see a very clear heel Cody as champion go in there and lose the belt to Punk? Yes. If they decide to go something else in a completely different direction than something we haven't seen before, I'm all for it. Fine. Punk doesn't need to get every single fucking WrestleMania main event. He's still going to be around for probably a couple of years. If he doesn't get next year's one, he can have the year after that, whatever. Give me something different, please. I'm just sick of the same shit over and over again. Or otherwise, WWE, fuck you. I'm going to watch AEW.
Jesus Christ. That took a twist.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega is really selling you.
Oh, no, I won't be watching that. Fuck that. No, not that prick. No. And I don't mean Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's fantastic. Not the other fucker.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like it now. To me, it's like, right, WWE don't have a WrestleMania main event. Whereas I felt since the Raw after WrestleMania, oh, they've got it locked and it's the right one, and you just have to tell it the right way. And now it just seems like we've taken a detour, and now it's like an unreal episode where they're like, do we give it to Jey Uso again? No,
no, you fucking don't.
They do have a main event in terms of Reigns of Oba. That's definitely, I'd say that's locked. But like, they don't have this.
Unless they decide to go earlier with that.
Nah.
You think that?
Yeah, it'd be tough to avoid them, like, because they brought such momentum. But like SummerSlam Saturday ending with Oba, SummerSlam Sunday ending with Reigns. I'm like, come on, what's the story they're telling us here?
No, I absolutely get you, but where do both of them go from here?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not against each other.
Well, Roman Reigns can just fuck off for 3 months. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he can. So you have that, I guess, banked, I suppose, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. It is tough to keep them apart because what does Oba do now for 6 months? Do you know what I mean? Like, you almost have to have Oba be like, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania. You know, you have to have him come out and make that declaration to kind of buy you time, like, because, yeah, Oba has a title shot banked now.
Yeah.
And that should be character-wise what he turns his attention to. It's weird, but yeah, I don't think they have the main event locked from what did they do with the undisputed WWE Championship.
Yeah.
We spoke about Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. It was a huge weekend for another British wrestling legend. Nick Aldis made his WWE in-ring debut, fought Gunther. What surprised me more than anything was there was a lot of momentum for people picking Aldis to win. When we did the prediction league, which had a disaster because, Jerry, I'm not going to lie, I let you talk me around on a lot of predictions and you fucked it. You fucked up. I was leading the Low Blows prediction league and now I'm not because I listened to your fucking picks, you bastard. But a lot of people in the prediction league were actually going for Nick Aldis to win this, which I never thought was a possibility. And it went exactly as it went. He got the post-match. They made a bigger deal of it than I thought they would. Like, and it was great to see him get this. He did an excellent interview, which I think probably played into WWE saying, right, we'll make a bigger deal of this, because he did an excellent emotional interview with Chris Van Vliet last week. Listen to it if you haven't already. He actually gets really emotional at the end of it. I love the part where he's like, he had to talk to his kid, who obviously then got a moment in the ring with him, with Mickey James as well at the end of the match, and tell them that their annual summer holiday to France was cancelled because Daddy had got a huge opportunity and he was going to be working, so it was going to have to be a boring summer as far as a kid. And it is very funny as well because it's the coolest thing ever to like us as wrestling fans, but if you're a kid, you're just like, oh, that's my holiday gone. What the fuck are we going to do? I won't get to see Jacques in the Riviera. But no, like, he got his moment. The family got their moment. It was he got Oasis. Like, that would have cost him a pretty fucking penny. Oasis was his theme song when he came out. What were your thoughts on Nick Aldis Gunther? I know you were looking forward to it. Do you feel delivered?
It absolutely delivered. Like, all you have to do is look at his entrance and how over he was when he came out. Somebody who's never wrestled in WWE before, he's only been a mouthpiece and a GM for the past 3 years, and obviously he was brought on board. He was never brought on board to be a wrestler, just to be a personality and to be the GM. So to see him go out there and not only like there was no ring rust, he went out there and he wrestled like he'd been doing it for the past fucking 3 years, every week in and out, Raws, SmackDowns, pay per views, the whole lot. He absolutely wrestled his heart out. I loved that interview though, of what you were talking about there with Chris Van Vliet, where like he gets emotional and he says the words, "This is my one shot."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is a guy who's been part of WWE for the past few years. And he says something like that. I'm like, Jesus, like, he's obviously been fighting for this and fighting and fighting and fighting for this. And I have to say, I will echo the words of Wade Barrett after the match. It's like, Wade said, I don't think this is the last time you see Nick Aldis in the ring. Not a fucking hope. After not only the reception he received, but the type of match that he did, it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic match. Loved it from start to finish. I think him and Gunther worked really, really well together. The one point I will take from that, especially the fact that somebody who hasn't wrestled for a few years now, I'll take the one point in the match where Gunther goes for the crossbody and Aldis catches him, hooks the head, picks him up and suplex him. Like, oh, that was, I was like poetry in the middle of the fucking ring. How good that was. So absolutely fantastic match. I know the whole thing, like Triple H rips up the resignation letter and he's back as GM. There's not a hope. I can guarantee we will see Nick Aldis back in the WWE ring, because if not, it's an absolute travesty, because number one, he absolutely sold. Everybody was behind him. The entire crowd there were for him. Like even you only have to look at the fact that he got Oasis, which is not going to be fucking cheap. And then afterwards, like the pure emotion on his face, and then his wife and his child get in. It just absolutely brilliant. I thought for me, this was probably one of the most solid matches for the entire weekend. One of the most cheered matches, I think, because everyone was just behind this match. Everybody in the arena was behind it. So I loved this match and I can't wait to see him in the ring again.
Yeah. I like, but he's kind of got the dream. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like especially for his age, like, and he spoke on the interview about he wasn't injured, but he was more banged up than he thought he was, and he kind of
Yeah.
got the time for his body to recover. And it's like, from like having trained to wrestle and stuff like that as well. There's wrestling conditioning in that, like, you will. Like, your body hardens when you wrestle. Do you know what I mean? The example I'll always give is running the ropes is
Oh,
literally throwing your body into like reinforced cable over and over again. And the way you practice it and you get like ring conditioning is you run the ropes for 5 minutes and then you run it for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And that is like the way I had it described to me was your body's now sand. Like, it was Darren Burge, the old IWW coach. He's like, your body is sand. I'm going to turn it into fucking granite. You know what I mean? And that literally happens. But then what happens is when you step away from that, you remember what normal adult pain feels like. Do you know what I mean? Because your body isn't resisting the pain anymore. The threshold goes back down to a normal person's, and that's what he spoke of on that interview. So, he's got the dream for a guy of his age, and that he gets to be the character and do it. Like, there was a part of me that was like, is he just selling the match here? Like, he's got to know that if they're giving him Gunther at SummerSlam, it isn't a one and done unless he really fucks it. Which he's not going to. He's too experienced, and like he's got a veteran's kind of head on his shoulders now. So we like when you've been around enough, you know what's gonna work before you do it. So he's like, it's Gunther, it's gonna work. Um, so he knows this is, so him crying and saying this is my one shot, and this isn't a criticism, it's actually a compliment. It's like, either one way it's making me buy into him as a person if this is genuine, but if he's a worker, it's even more impressive. Like, how much he's selling me on this match. Like, this guy is fucking great. And it was great to see him get that moment and stuff like that as well. But now his setup is that he'll be the GM and he'll do like the commentator thing where like Jerry Lawler would wrestle a match once every 6 months. It would be the biggest fucking thing,
yeah.
because like it's so rare, but we're so used to seeing him. So we build this connection to him, like kind of subtly in the background. Like with Jerry Lawler was hearing his voice every Raw. And then eventually when he stands up and sticks up to someone, we're like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much I connected with you until this moment. You know, he gets to do that, but then like kind of like not put the stress on his body of a week to week schedule. He's done that part of his career. He's lived it. He's paid his dues. He's earned this right. But can we just get a word for Gunther? Like you said, that I was surprised how well they work together. Gunther works with everyone.
Yeah.
There is not one bad opponent for Gunther.
Mhm.
There's not one situation. Every match, like we have to talk about Gunther in. This is undisputed the best wrestler on the planet right now. Like every match with Gunther, you put like fucking, you could put fucking Akira Tozawa against Gunther, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to see that match. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Now that you've said, I do want to see that match because obviously
Yeah.
Gunther would maul him, but like you'd get a little bit back from
I think they had
Tozawa.
wrestled before, and it was really
Probably,
good.
yeah.
I'm loosely remembering a Raw match here. But every match with Gunther is a dream match, and
Yeah.
he gets the Gunther style. Like he is the best that they
Yeah.
have. He is and we need to
100%.
start speaking about. People will
Yeah.
be like, "Oh no, CM Punk, oh no, Seth Rollins, or Roman Reigns, or this, that, the other." No, Gunther is the top of the top.
Yeah.
Obafemi is the next big star they have, but Gunther is the best in the world right now because
100%.
every match he's in,
100%.
fucking
100%
dream.
agree. Everybody else, apart obviously taking Oba aside, because obviously Oba is the future now. Everyone else is the old guard. Everyone else is the Stone Colds, the Rocks, the Triple H's, the Undertakers. They're the old guard now. So you've got Punk, Reigns, Rollins. They only have so much left in the tank. Let's be perfectly honest with you. Rollins, unfortunately, is very injury prone. You've got Reigns, who only does a limited schedule because he's going to be living with leukemia forever. That's not going to go away. So he has to keep himself as healthy as he possibly can. You've got Punk, who again not quite as bad as Seth in terms of injuries, but he is getting old. He's 48 now. Like these lads only have so long. You've got this young guy, Gunther, coming in. You've got Oba, Gunther. Like, look at the future, what we have in WWE. Sweet Jesus. If they do the booking right, it's going to be unbelievable. Now, when I will say one thing about Gunther, there is one match I genuinely do want to see because I want to see what he can get out of the other person. And that is the very much rumored match between him and Brock that we've been hearing about for so long. That would be Brock's retirement match that Gunther will retire him. Can you imagine the match Gunther will get out of Brock Lesnar? Like Brock Lesnar doesn't really have like bad matches, but he doesn't have amazing matches either. Where like these days, I mean, because he doesn't really do much. Him and Gunther, sweet Jesus, that could be poetry. I think it could be absolute. Your mic is off. Um,
It's sorry, thank you. It's got everything.
yeah,
Because what we were saying about Brock about like he's not a story wrestler, Gunther is the best of both. He's a
yeah,
physical wrestler and that it's physically impressive to see him do it, but he's totally good. And Brock again, I'm not trying to take away from Brock. Again, consider that the best recent Royal Rumble we've probably had is Royal Rumble 2020, where Brock started as number one. And then like it was like Brock, this is your life, and all his past opponents came down and like kind of faced him, and he vanquished them until Drew came out and eliminated him. So Brock can tell stories with the right people. It's just Oba isn't that person, you know what I mean? That is maybe the best Brock Lesnar match ever. That's the potential you're talking in that, and it has to happen at WrestleMania, and it has to be his retirement match. It is the match they're holding off. Like this was a soft retirement for Brock. This was a passing the torch moment. But if you're gonna have Brock retire, you're gonna say it. You're gonna say the words, and it has to be Gunther, and it's well
I
deserved.
I think they set it up. I think Brock is gone now. Brock is gone now for a good long time.
Yeah.
I think they could potentially set it up how they set up Oba versus Brock at Royal Rumble. I think they have hit Gunther and Brock in the middle of the ring. Everybody wants to see this match. It'll be just the two of them. They'll be smacking the shit out of each other, and that's how they set up the match for Mania.
I don't know if I do it necessarily that way. I think that is the most natural way to get them together.
Yeah.
And if they do it that way, I think that'll be fine, and we'll all be really into it. Just for the moment in the Rumble of those two squaring up to each other, and us immediately all just twigging at the same time. WrestleMania. Like
Yeah,
that just works. You don't
that's
need
it.
to do
Yeah,
anything.
but
But like,
for
imagine also, do you remember Triple H Undertaker, how they set it up? Where the
yeah,
Undertaker made his entrance, and then all of a sudden, when he's about to speak, Triple H's music hits, and then they just look at each other and they look at the sign, and that's all you need to do. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you
any
could do
way
it like that.
works.
Yeah,
Brock comes back, or like Brock comes back, and then there's the link in between. Do you remember Gunther, Paul Heyman, and
the
they
favor.
Gunther did him a favor?
Yeah,
Like, so they have that link, so it could be like, oh, this is when we pay you back for the favor. This is when we can't. Paul Heyman can make that work. Like, there's infinite ways to set it up. You don't, but it's not hard. And just
yeah,
get out of the way. Let them have their match. Let it sell WrestleMania, because you just need to put them on a poster together and let our imaginations do the rest.
yeah.
Fantastic, and Gunther, best in the world today.
There,
Every
there
match of
is
the
one. There's one more question, and that's more for the Brock side of things, and it's actually to do with Paul Heyman. Now that Brock is, and we know Brock's going to be gone away for a while now. He's gone now for a while because it's going to make it look like that's it. He's done. Heyman has left division. What happens with Heyman now? I don't know. I
Gunther
think
become a Paul Heyman guy. Is that how you said it?
no, God, no. I'm
That's
not
too
setting that up.
obvious.
No, God, no. I genuinely don't know. This is somebody who has talked about only as recently as last few months is that he's not going anywhere. He's sticking around. He wants to keep doing this. He can't do it anymore. He left division, and Brock is gone. So what does Paul Heyman do now? Does
Sami
he just
Zayn. They have the link through the bloodline. Oh my God. No, Sami Zayn is good enough.
no? What's wrong with
Okay.
you?
I was thinking about Sunday. I was thinking about Sunday. It's an interesting question to leave there, because it is. I don't know. And like, rather than us just.
Oh, no, it's not going to happen. But can you imagine Cody turning heel?
Cody and Heyman together. Yeah, but Cody's so good on the mic. You don't want to. You don't put great mic people together. You know what I
Punk and
mean?
Heyman.
Like, yeah, and but it didn't really work because of that.
Mm.
Like, it worked as in we put them together and they naturally fit, but like, it's like, who does the promo? Like, because either way, you're looking at when CM Punk's talking, you're going, oh, I could be getting a Paul Heyman promo now. And when Paul Heyman's talking, you're like, oh, I could be getting a CM Punk promo. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird dichotomy. Like, so I don't know. It could work. Like, don't get me wrong. And like, is that how you get Cody to WrestleMania against Punk?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe I'm coming around to it. Let's talk about Sunday. Gunther made a reappearance. We got Balor against Zayn in the opener, and then Nick Aldis came out. Triple H was like, I need you to put the thing with Gunther to bed. So that was Nick Aldis's makeup to Gunther, but then he had one left. I want to tell a story. This is actually sneakily one of my favorite moments, because after the Gunther bit, I'm like, right, okay, fuck me, I've been going. I need to get out for a quick vape. So I went down to you guys, and
Yeah.
as I'm going down to the guys at the door, they're watching SummerSlam on your phone. And I'm like, I thought you were behind because Nick Aldis is cutting a promo. And I'm like, oh, you haven't seen this. This is great. Like, watch it. And then you're like, no, he's still talking. It's a four-way now. And I go, who are they going to add? And then I literally like I cycled through my brain in like 10 seconds while Nick Aldis did the promo. And I'm like, Kevin Owens, fuck! And then I was like, I'm gonna miss the reaction, so I had to
Yeah.
sprint back upstairs. Got the reaction in the end. It was class. Like, but yeah, it was fucking amazing. Kevin Owens is
Yeah.
back. He's now the number one contender, which was the right move if you're gonna do the four-way with those four people. But it's hard not to feel for Balor. And look, obviously we're looking at it
Yeah.
through one lens. But we're kind of excited for Balor against whatever. We get Punk against Kevin Owens, which is a match that feels weirdly unique. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if we've got has Owens been around much since Punk has been back? Have they crossed paths?
We have not gotten this match in WWE.
Wow. Okay. So that's a really fresh match. Um, but you've got a feel for Finn Balor. Sami Zayn, it plays into his like kind of
Yeah.
character. Like, he's kind of in the Drew McIntyre spot of, it's unfortunate that your character advances through losses and disappointment, but that is just the way we've written you. But Sammy's very good at making that work. Gunther, it doesn't harm at all because he's Gunther and he'll just do whatever the fuck he wants.
Mhm.
Thoughts on this match, the surprises, everything that kind of came from it.
So obviously when we were talking last week, it was all about, okay, who's going to interfere in the main event? Is it going to be Randy? Is it going to be Kevin Owens? And like, we'd heard Kevin Owens was there. We'd heard Randy was in Minnesota. I was like, okay, so they're there. And we even saw a video of from one of the signings that Dom Mysterio was doing. And fucking Kevin Owens is behind him saying, I hate you. I hate you. So it's like, okay, he's there, but he's taking a piss. So maybe he's not actually cleared. Fair enough. So when he came out, like, you sprinted off up the stairs fast as I've ever seen you fucking run. And me and Jimmy are standing there. I was like, it's got to be Owens. It's got to be Owens. It's got to be Owens. The music kicked in. I smacked Jimmy. I smacked him. I was like, I told you, fucking back. And then he goes in. He looked absolutely fucking amazing. He goes down to the ring. The one thing I will say for the whole 2 minutes of his doing the end, like Nick Aldis doing him coming down the entrance, the whole lot. Sami Zayn, absolutely brilliant facial from Sami Zayn. It was actually quite a good match, a nice quick match, I will say, for a 4-way. It was very, very quick. Owens obviously. He wanted to go in there and prove that he was 100%. So the first 3 things I see is him doing the cannonball, top rope dive, and then 2 swantons. I'm like, will you rest your neck, you stupid fuck? Don't injure yourself again. But absolutely great to see him back. 100% the right decision. I absolutely feel horrible for Finn Balor because everyone was saying, well, Finn's got to win now. He's going to win. And he's finally going to get a push. I was like, oh, okay, that might be gone already because Kevin Owens is back. But it sets up beautifully Punk versus Owens. Oh my God, how good is that match going to be? It's going to be fucking amazing. Cannot wait for that. It's the
mic work as well, the promo.
Yeah, oh God. I think for me anyway, the one person I really wanted to come back, and there's actually a few people that haven't been there for a while that want back. I wanted Owens back. He was top of the list. Randy is now back as well. Loving that. Where's fucking Drew? We need a bit of Drew. I know he's been off filming one film and then he immediately went off to start filming a second one. And all power to him. I'm loving that. I'm loving the fact that we're getting Drew everywhere now. He's going to be a little bit like rockish going off and doing all this fucking acting. But I want him back. I really want Drew McIntyre back. I was like, right, where can we slot him in here? I really want to see him come back. So the fact that we've gotten 2 out of the 3 back now, we've got Kevin Owens back, loving it. And I do mean fucking loving it. It's amazing that he's back. Randy, loving that. And the little, the turn of the head and the wink, I'm like, go on, Randy, you dirty bollocks, you fucking love it. So I'm like, absolutely loved the comebacks that we've got here. Kevin Owens, absolutely amazing, absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that he's back. Looks, obviously, he's going to be on SmackDown now if he's going to be doing stuff for Punk. Randy's going to be there with doing stuff with Cody. If we get Drew back anytime soon, I'd imagine they're going to start, I'd say, slot him into Raw. That could potentially be a new feud for Roman Reigns straight away. There you go. There's a heel for him to work with straight away. That could happen as early as tonight. You just don't fucking know. Oh God, I'm a prediction fucking monster here. This is great.
I know. And remember, people are probably going to hear this after Raw, so they'll know the answers. Quick question though, right? Kevin Owens, obviously we spoke about, looked great after his comeback as well.
Yeah.
Who do you thought looked better after their comeback, Kevin Owens or Ali?
I was going to say something there, and I'm like, no, because that will get me shut down. Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, absolutely.
Kill you.
Kevin Owens. Definitely Kevin Owens.
That'll get you a slap, Jesus. Right. We had a few title changes. We're not going to go into these individually. Chelsea Green won the interim women's championship in the ladder match. Chad Gable topped out Penta to win the Intercontinental Championship as expected, but still good to see, especially in his hometown of Minnesota. And Baron Corbin beat Trick Williams for the US Championship. Last week we discussed the possibility of Trick Williams kind of having that failing upwards moment of he loses the belt, but actually that just opens him up to kind of a more main event spot. So not too worried about that. I don't love the idea of Baron Corbin in the every time I see Baron Corbin now after a conversation last week where we kind of figured out he's back because he's willing to accept a contract that Sheamus wouldn't. I kind of resent him now. And that's just a story I made up in my head. But now I can't unsee it. But I don't love him as US champion. But again, Baron Corbin is better than you think. So maybe they can turn something into it. Best of these 3 moments. We don't have to beat around the bush here. The answer is Chelsea Green. But let's talk about of these 3, what was your kind of take?
Chelsea Green all the fucking way. We talked about last week how I believed, it's probably going to be Charlotte. We're not going to get what we want. We're not going to get the Chelsea Green win. And when you see her going up on the ladder, no one else around, and B-Fab and fucking Mishin coming out and like, oh, ask my fucking hairy cock. Just what a load of bollocks. I'm like, oh, fine, fine. Charlotte's going to get in the ring now and fucking win. Great. And then they do the quad spot where like two are over here on one ladder, two are over here on the other ladder. They've all gone, and Chelsea's just dangling, and then she just rises up like the Undertaker. And I mean, legs it up that fucking ladder. One leg over it, takes the belt down. I was like, that. And you know, for me, what did that remind you of? That win and how she won. What did that remind you of?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now. Go
Yeah.
on.
Zack Ryder winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
Yes. Oh, oh, very good. Oh, that's a good memory there, Jerry. Oh, well
Yeah.
played. Well played.
Now, for me, is it a thing where this is going to be like a lengthy title run? Is she going to be like a proper main event now? I'd like to think so, but I just don't. I don't think it's going to happen. I think when Rhea comes back, Rhea's going to beat her, obviously, to unify the belts. But it's definitely the right choice. She is very, very over. You could tell that she's very beloved backstage from Unreal. Everybody loves her. She dedicated, I love this, she dedicated the win to Michael Hayes.
Mm.
And I'm like, don't dedicate it to that old prick. You know what I mean? Dedicate it to somebody who deserves it, not that fucker. I pissed myself laughing when I saw that quote. I was like, Jesus Christ, anybody
Yeah,
else.
it was
But
very
no,
strange.
no, more like obviously, Baron Corbin, great. Whatever, we'll see how it goes. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and see how it gets on. Chad Gable, it was inevitable. He was going to win the title tonight. It's his home state, Minnesota, and he sixth occasion going for the Intercontinental title. He finally did it over Sheamus Wanker.
Is Jack Gable over though? Like,
No,
is like, yeah, that's the thing. He's still not. I didn't do the thing. They tried to do a Nick Aldis style moment with him after with the family, and kind of they played on the
no,
finish to the Grande Americano match and so on. And it's still not fucking clicking. Yeah, which
he
is.
unfortunately he's not El Grande Americano anymore, so nobody gives a fuck.
Mm.
Nobody.
And I
Now
don't think
this.
it's. I think there's two things at play, right?
Mm,
We all like and respect. We all see the same thing with Chad Gable. Like we all want him to succeed and win,
yeah,
but what they're giving us just isn't the flavor that we want. It isn't the way. It's just a bit off. It's forcing it. It's like you're actually taking away part of the Chad Gable aspect that we like. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, I think this character works best if you make him he's Kurt Angle, right? Run the
mm,
fucking Kurt Angle playbook. Kurt
yeah,
Angle worked one of two ways. He was either like no, there was a few different versions of Kurt Angle.
mhm,
There was the comedy heel. Chad Gable can do that. He's excellent at that. Okay, but he's kind of outgrown it. But Kurt Angle could do that as a main eventer. So it is something you can tap into if you want, right? Then there's and this works as either a babyface or a heel. The killer. The
yeah,
fucking like I'll break your fucking ankle. You know what I mean? And Chad Gable has an ankle lock. And like Kurt Angle as a babyface killer is like just do you remember he put the mouth guard in and he just came out and it's like he just had that locked on face when he's making his entrance and he's like I am
yeah.
gonna fucking break someone's ankle like that just run the Kurt Angle playbook with him
Hmm.
like he is the next generation of Kurt Angle
Yeah.
you don't need to overthink this.
What reminded me of that of the killer Kurt Angle gimmick was a match that we played on screen during the weekend, which was him versus Rey
Yeah.
Mysterio at SummerSlam. He was the killer Kurt Angle then. He was heel killer Kurt Angle then. So good. You only have to look at Chad Gable's physique. Everybody seems to be going to him for advice. Like Punk's been going to the gym with him, and you saw what way Punk looks now. He is an absolute killer in the gym, but he needs to be a killer in the ring. He needs to absolutely just he does need that killer aspect. I think he's just playing off the fact that he's a good wrestler now, and he's come back and he's doing the whole.
Just
Yeah.
white meat
That's not
baby face.
working. That's not
White meat
working.
baby face doesn't
Yeah,
work in 2026. And
no.
and that's what you're giving him. Like, come on, this is the most one possibly the most charismatic guy. And like for me, the only guy you can put up against Gunther is best in WWE. I think best in the world. That it opens a conversation wider to AEW. Do you know what I mean? You have to and New Japan. You have to start thinking about other people there to catch the Kenny Omega, Osprey. I know you feelings on Osprey, but whatever. But like Chad Gable is in that space with Gunther as like actually like the best in the world, and just don't give us white meat babyface. Like it just doesn't work. A final word on Chelsea Green. There, I just loved credit where it's due WWE, the finish machine came in. There's going to be an episode of Unreal where, like, it is Michael Hayes just going, "We got him," and they did. They got us. The way they did this was perfect because it was just. It's why you come to WWE. Do you know what I mean? And it is for the best reason, the best version of WWE. Sometimes they get it wrong, like with Chad Gable. Baron Corbin is the US champion. So the get it wrong part is also part of this. But to get it right is when they nail it really well. And it is almost Shakespearean in it. It's like they ran the emotional gamut. We originally just they played with our emotions. They had us from the word go. Meechin and B-Fab come out and we're like, they're fucking Chelsea over. And like, but there's a party that's like, but they're doing it in a way where they know that they're fucking us over. So I don't think they're actually fucking us over. And then when she's hanging and the dual ladders are beside but awkwardly
Yeah.
positioned, we knew where it was going, but it was still so much fun getting there. And it was just so much fun, like where it's like, she's gonna fucking sit up. They're gonna take each like literally, I'm having this conversation with people in Woolshed and we're all saying the same thing. It's like they're gonna take each other out and then she's just gonna sit up. But fuck me, it was brilliant to watch all the same.
Yeah,
They
really
nailed
good.
it. They nailed it.
Yeah.
Like predictable can be good too, but
Yeah.
also none of us predicted. There was a few people in the prediction league who did, but neither of us predicted Chelsea. We both spoke about it. We both
Yeah.
wanted to pick her, and it was great. And I think where she is at now is it's really up to her what happens next. She's in a new space where now she has to carry the main event women's slot as like a baby face. So she's in a new space where this is a new element of her character, and she could easily go the Chad Gable route of this really charismatic person who we all naturally love and we've come to now in this position maybe doesn't work, or if she finds a way to make it work, then she probably beats Rhea when Rhea comes back, you know. But it's really on her. Like
Yeah.
this is an opportunity she has right now, and what happens is next. Let's all finish on the main event of the weekend. It was Seth Rollins against Roman Reigns. And Jerry, we watched this in a different way. You went home. Did you watch it live or did you watch it this morning?
No, I watched it live.
You watched it live. Okay.
Yeah.
You watch it from the comfort of your own home, okay? I watched this still in Woolshed. I'm sitting beside Jimmy Malloy. I'm doing my last few low blows bits of the weekend. And we're wrecked. We're fucking wrecked. We are tapped from the weekend. Jimmy had done an amazing Trojans work. Jimmy Malloy, he does a lot of the camera work for us as well. And now he's also like appointing himself as like potential complaint handler and like auditor. He's walking around beforehand and he's like, that telly is flickering. You want to get someone on that? You know what I mean? And he's great. He's brilliant. I love Jimmy. Like, it's such an asset to the team. But we're wrecked for this stage. And afterwards, we turned around and we were like, Jimmy's like, well, it looked like they had fun. They got to tell their little Shield storyline. And, like, we don't give a fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? There was no mad booking. There was no anything. And I guess I want you watching it from the comfort of your own home and getting to zone in. Like from a Woolshed experience, it didn't work, okay? Because it was a very introverted story they were telling. And it felt like they were telling it that they cared about it more than we cared about it. You know what I mean? So it didn't kind of work in that environment. It may have hit differently when you're sitting at home and you're getting to
Mhm.
lock in.
Yeah.
Am I overreacting because of the circumstances and maybe this was better and I need to give it another chance while I'm editing the show? Or was what I saw and that this was just, yeah, good for you guys. You got to finish your whole Shield storyline, but we've been over that for a while.
Okay, so from my perspective, I think there's very much a Rollins Reigns fatigue. Uh, this match has been done to death. It's been shoved down our throats. It's always been about how Reigns can never beat Rollins, blah, blah, blah. And when we knew we were getting this again, I was like, oh, fucking hell, not again. And you just knew this was going to be the main event of the weekend. So I went into it going, because I'm just sick of it now. I'm like, WWE need a different playbook. Like, if this is their last match, it needs to be done now. I'm done. I'm fucking sick of it now. Now, saying that, I didn't have a lot of hopes going into this match, and especially like sitting at home, I literally have sitting on the couch with the two dogs, watching this entertaining match. I thought, I did not see the ending coming the way it did. I thought there's going to be outside interference. I kept thinking because there were lengthy periods where the both of them are down, or one is down and the other is just looking at the other one. And I said, someone's going to interfere. Someone's going to interfere. So, oh, no one's going to. Okay. Oh, someone's going to interfere. So, no, okay. And then it's over. And you're like, oh, fuck. Um, okay. They definitely told a story. Um, I did like the aspect of Rollins getting the chair and not being able to use it. Roman picks it up and he was like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore to beat you, and then beats him. So there were aspects of it that I said, okay, that was good. I enjoyed watching it. The ending where they literally have
It was
kind of
also just to come in on
yeah.
that one. That was a flashback to Rollins turning on the
Oh
lights
yeah,
out.
no, I know. Yeah, yeah. It's
But
like
just to kind of call that out as
yeah.
well.
It
So
was like
that
Rollins turned on him with the chair, and then
yeah,
Roman cost himself the title at Mania 40
yeah.
by hitting him with the chair. If he hadn't hit him with the chair, he would have beat Cody. So then, massive throwback to that. So I did like that aspect. It was lovely storytelling. This is what WWE do above everybody else, is their storytelling. And storytelling is so much better there. The ending, I thought, yeah, it was a satisfactory, I suppose, ending. I did like the Reigns putting his fist out and Rollins coming over and doing that. This needs to be it, though,
Yeah.
because I'm like, even though it was satisfactory, I'm like, we're over it now, lads. We're done. Thank you. You did a great job. Now, fuck off.
Very funny comment though from Jimmy Malloy where he's like, I've sat through way too many John Cena versus Randy Orton. This is the last time ever. Matches to believe this is the last time they're ever wrestling.
Oh,
And it's true.
it's not going
It
to
does
be.
it
It's not
does
going to be,
give a
yeah.
ring of that where like in a couple of years, and Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, but again, I don't mind it with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They're itchy and scratchy for WWE, and I quite like that, even last night. But yeah, it did give a ring of like
Yeah.
nobody buys this is like
Yeah.
it's just like for me, I watched it and I just felt like this is a match they're going to tell me about on Unreal about why this match was so great, but I just didn't feel it as I watched it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I just didn't. Yeah, like and Reigns, I guess, is just confusing me as a champion because like on one hand you have the kind of heelish bloodline like doing the old school interference and stuff like that, and then this time you have like Reigns is like, no, I'm not gonna cheat, I'm not gonna, and it feels like a disconnect between Reigns has like, no, we've done the heel character for years, so I'm not just gonna go back to that, but the story is naturally veering him towards that direction. But
Yeah.
now there's a resistance on it. Feels like almost he's coming in and making that executive decision. And then now what it feels like and translates to us as fans is that something's missing in the character. Something is lacking because we're waiting for the run in and the match doesn't feel it's like fucking Mick Foley's book. I think it was Foley is Good, where he's talking about his retirement. And he talks about I think it was a Hell in a Cell match he had with Triple H. The three stages of Hell, and the third stage was Hell in a Cell. And the crowd just aren't there for it. And he's like, but we're giving them great wrestling. What the fuck? And it's like, he had this moment of realization during the match that it was like, yeah, they're waiting for us to climb the cell. So they're not going to buy into the near falls because they know I'm me and I'm going to climb the cell and I'm going to do the barbed wire and all of that. And they did that. And then the crowd were there for it. That's where I was. I was like, the bloodline's coming out. So none of this is real until the bloodline comes out. And then the ref's down. So now the bloodline are definitely coming out. You know what I mean? And actually, all that I felt was the vacuum of my expectations, you
Yeah.
know?
100%
Uh,
agree. 100%.
and that's the tension with the Roman Reigns character, and that, like, I appreciate you like longer form storytelling, but there's a point, and again, like to kind of fly in the face of me just saying predictable is good sometimes. Um, but we know where this is going. Like we know you're gonna wrestle Obafemi at WrestleMania. We know you're loading up the bloodline again to give Obafemi like a bunch of people to run through. What Obafemi is gonna do over the next few months is he's gonna wrestle Jacob Fatu. He's gonna have a handicap match in a pay-per-view with the Usos, and he's gonna win and win and win and win and win. And they're just lining up people for Oba to knock down until eventually he gets to Reigns, and it's just the two of them left standing at WrestleMania, you know? Um so get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now we're feeling the absence of, oh, like, and it's the same. I loved the CM Punk WrestleMania match, but when it just finished with Reigns doing a spear, I was like, oh, okay. Rangers champion again. That is what I expected to happen. And I'm just not feeling the elation that I should feel for a babyface championship win, but I'm also not feeling the anger that I should feel for when he did that with the bloodline, like in his initial title run. So now it's just kind of a vacuum. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and that's a problem, you know. Now they'll say, well, we've got Obafemi and we're going to give you all of that, and it's going to pay off, and maybe it will, but we we have to live through all these pay-per-views in the meantime. We have to live through all these shows, so I don't know. I don't know. I felt it missing, but they did the job that they went out to do, and they did it well. But yeah, it just, I don't know, lackluster. Long weekend though. I was
Yeah.
also tired. Maybe I will rewatch it today and see if I appreciate it more. Kind of like just lying in bed, chilling. Anyway, Jerry, that was SummerSlam, and that was a busy weekend for us. And right now, I'm going to fucking chill. That is me done with low blow stuff. When by the time you see this pop up in your feed, I'll be finished and I'll be taking a break. We put out for everyone the weekend. We always look after the people who look after us first. So if you supported us this weekend, we give you early bird tickets. So Survivor Series early bird tickets are available, but only to people who are at SummerSlam this weekend, and you get a discount code which lasts you up until this Friday. If you, it'll be in the like you'll get an email today sent out. You should be in your inbox now. As a thank you from us to be for supporting us and for continued support us. We think we should look after you then on the other side. So keep an eye out for that. But we'll be taking a break. We need a few weeks. It's been busy. I'm at All In at the end of the month. So we'll do something around that. I don't know what we'll do yet. We haven't figured that out, but it feels very natural that Jerry hates AEW and I'm going to see AEW. So we'll figure something out to do with that. Jerry, you don't get a break because you've Comic Con this weekend. Talk to me about
Yes.
that. How are you feel? Are you feeling exhausted? Or are you feeling excited? Have you ramped up the energy levels for Comic Con again?
No, I'm very much tired. I won't go into the details of it, but I was awoken this morning by my two dogs. So I only got about 3 or 4 hours sleep. So I'm still quite tired. Um, Generally, the Comic Con stuff does not hit me until the Wednesday. And the reason it is that I'm out in the warehouse. We're packing the trucks, getting ready to go. We're getting stuff, new props and things. And that's when it starts to get exciting. But that's also when it becomes panic stations because it comes to Wednesday, I go, oh, fuck, I haven't done my questions for my guests yet. What do I do? So, yeah, it tends to hit me very quickly. Now, I have actually started them this year because I've only got the 2 panels this time around because I'm doing a little bit more on the Sunday. So on the Saturday, I have Baldur's Gate 3 panel at the start of the day. And then I have the absolutely amazing David Hayter around about 2 or 3 o'clock. We'll
Nice.
have to double check the schedule there. Somebody who we know well, who is one of the bigger wrestlers, a female wrestler from Ireland, that being Session Martin, is a huge fan of David Hayter. So I have to see if she's going to turn up to see him, or if we can even get him to do a little message or something for her, because we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the Saturday. Obviously, I've got the 2 panels there. Not all I'm going to be doing on a Saturday because you generally, when you work for Comic Con, you run around like a blue ass fly. So it's a little bit of everything going on. Then the Sunday is where I'm extremely busy. So we have the Brody Awards from 1 p.m. on Sunday. First time I'll ever be hosting that one, so that's going to be a big one for me. We're going to be showcasing some new indie games. We're going to be giving out awards to some very deserving people, and then the Brody Award itself will be later on in the session. Then after that, then there'll be more interviews, and then the cosplay competition from 3 p.m. We have MyWays.ie coming back to us as well, to do the most sustainable cosplay competition right at the start. So that's going to be the first category that we do. Sign-ups are still there. Sign-ups will be open until Friday. If you have a costume that you want to enter into the cosplay competition, please do it now, and do not be disappointed when you come to me on Saturday and Sunday and I tell you, I'm sorry, you cannot sign up now. Sign-ups are closed. We already have a lot of people signed up to every category, so that's the sustainable category going first. You've got the over 16s, the under 16s, and the groups. These are quite full as it is, but I have told the guys to allow people to sign up until Friday. So you have until Friday to sign up for the cosplay competition. Please do not come to me on Saturday and Sunday saying you would like to sign up or you'd like to sign your child up. If you don't do it now, you will be disappointed. I'm sorry, we will not be doing sign-ups in the weekend because we have so many sign-ups already. You have until Friday. Please sign up now, or if you don't want your children to be disappointed, sign them up now. But yes, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing faces, new and old, come Saturday and Sunday. So really looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Exciting times. And how can people get involved? Remind us.
If you want to get this is the thing. If you don't have tickets, don't try because they're completely sold out. Both days are sold out. There is a wait list. So if you want to try and get a ticket for either Saturday or Sunday, please go on to DublinComicCon.com and sign up to the wait list. You can sign up to either Saturday or Sunday, but there is no guarantee you're going to get one. That is just there in case tickets become available. Now, more than likely they won't because they were sold out. But if they were to become available, please sign up to the wait list, and the guys will get back to you if any become available.
Okay, good stuff, Gerry. Busy week for you. That Jesus Christ, I need a few weeks, so I can't imagine you stepping into essentially another version of this. But no, well done, and thank you for the past few weeks. Thank you for your work at the weekend. Absolutely amazing as always, and like again, like just the podcast and everything you've done over the past few weeks. You and the team of Jimmy's as well, absolutely smashed it. Jade with the hard work, and then everyone just bringing it on the weekends and kind of making it worthwhile. It's been a lot of fun. And like let's give us just a few weeks, then we have All In, and then after that we get right into Survivor Series mode. So exciting times still to come. For me, nothing to plug because this is done, but I have seen the new Spider-Man movie. No spoilers. Gerry, I know you're going to see it this afternoon, but what I will say is if you haven't, go see it. The rumors are true. It's really fucking good. I'm going to see it a second time. It's fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. I want to take it in. Like, it's long, but there's a moment where, like, in it, and I won't say any plot details, but this is what I'll say in how I felt watching it. There's a moment in it where you're like, oh, this is clearly the ending. You know what I mean? And then, like, do you have the Run P app?
No.
This is another plug I'm going to do. It's an excellent app, and you'll need it because you're an owl lad, so you'll have a bladder quite like mine. But like, it's very good for the cinema. It essentially gives you notifications. So I have it on my watch when you need like of the good times to go piss during longer movies. So it'll tell you, and it'll give you a little plot summary of what you've missed in the meantime. So it'll give you a notification, and then you run off, right? But what it has is it's like a countdown. So it gives me a countdown towards the end of the movie. Then so I looked at it, I was like, right, okay, so that's the Run P app, by the way. It's free, but you can also get the premium version for unlimited if it's something you use. I use it, it's great because I'm a big cinema guy.
Clearly a big pisser.
And a big pisser. Two things I love to do: the cinema and pissing brought together in one friendly app. I'll be invoicing them for that plug. But there was a moment where I'm like, this is clearly the end. And then I looked at like the time left on my watch, and there was 40 minutes left. And I'm like, and you know the way sometimes when that happens, you go, oh, for fuck's sake now, Jesus Christ. I went, oh, yes. I just felt like this is such a treat. I get to spend 40 more minutes with this movie. They nailed it. It is the best Spider-Man of the Tom Holland era. It is.
Whoa, that's a big ask.
No, for me, I don't think that's a huge statement because they're all good, likable movies, but there's none on an Infinity War Endgame level until this. I think this is like, it's probably top 5 Marvel, I'd say, when I kind of get down and redo my rankings. And it is up there with Spider-Man 2 for the best Spider-Man ever. So it is very, very good. It's a proper complete Spider-Man story. It reminded me of the video games as well. Like there are some parts in the early stages where you're like, this is like a level in the video game, and it's great because they have the Shang-Chi director doing it, and he does action brilliantly. The action is very, very good. So yes, Gerry, enjoy that. Everyone, if you haven't seen it, that's your post SummerSlam treat to yourself. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Gerry, and all the team, and everyone who came along for your work once more. But that's been it. That's Low Blows. We'll be back in a few weeks with some All In related discussion. But until then, for Jerry, I've been Jer. This has been Low Blows. And that's the bottom line. Because Low Blows said so.
Now use your discount code or fuck off.